Hi, everyone. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to Fridays with Sandy. That would be Sandy Kreisberg, the founder of HBSGuru.com. And there he is in Boston.
Hi, everybody.
And we have Raj, who is past a major hurdle. He's gotten an invite on a 2+2 invitation to Harvard Business School for an interview. He's going to do his interview on Monday. And Sandy is going to put him through the paces of a mock interview. We're hoping he is an incredible interviewee on Monday and gets the nod. Sandy,
Okay, folks. Here's some general information about the 2+2 real interview. It's resume based. They're not looking to ask you trick questions. As you're going to see, they ask very basic questions. What they're trying to do is eliminate people who in the first instance can't speak English, although that's rare. They're trying to eliminate people whose English would just be trouble in a case method situation. And then beyond that, they say they're trying to eliminate people whose answers are scripted, but scripted is a term they use for people they don't like for a lot of reasons, some of which they don't want to say. So that's the purpose of the interview. And they just ask general questions about, usually based on your resume, as you're going to see. So Raj, say hi.
Hello, everyone. Excited to be here.
Good. Very often the first question is, and this is critical. So if you have a 2+2 interview coming up, you've got to internalize this shtick. Raj, it's the first day of class and we're going around the room. Could you introduce yourself, quickly, like in 30 to 45 seconds?
Sure.
To your classmates.
Hi, everyone. I'm Raj Shroff. I'm from India. I have also lived in Germany to study entrepreneurship and have worked at Facebook and Google to build on my tech muscle. I'm really excited to work with all of you and learn from you the business fundamentals, network with you, and hopefully work on my tech startup in the coming months and semesters.
That was pretty good as a transcript. In terms of the delivery, it was a little rushed, and you've got to, even though they tell you it's 60, like a minute, just you have got to be very clear and very deliberate. What did you think, John?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's I think you're right. Maybe it was a little rushed. That's about all.
Yeah, what you want to do is stop before each thing. Hi everybody. My name is Raj. I was born in India. My family came to the U.S. when I was X years old. I attended the University of Pennsylvania, both where I got a BA and a whatever's in whatever.
Systems engineering.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
4.0, I might add.
I wouldn't mention that in the introduction.
No.
For sure.
And before I came here, I worked for 3 companies. I spent X months at Facebook where I did blah, blah. And prior to that, I spent time at 4 months at Google where I was in a technical role. And then I worked for a Wharton MBA startup. One of my real interests is a club that I founded. It's an internet platform called Magic Connect, and the purpose of that club is to do blah, blah. And I'm certainly interested in meeting you all. And if anyone particularly is interested in blah, blah, and blah, I'd happy to get together. You get the difference?
Makes sense, yeah.
Good. A very common question. Tell me about your decision to go to the University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's kind of a small story there. They sent me a light letter before the early admission cycle. And I really liked Penn because it allowed me to do all these things together. I don't know a lot of schools that let me do 2 majors and a master's in 4 years. So I think that was very unique to Penn. I wanted to take advantage of that. I worked on my tech skills with my computer science major, and on the business things
Okay,
and
let me
trade-offs.
interrupt you
Mhm.
there. I'm glad. John, how's he doing?
Well, I think the beginning part was good, and then you should just stop. What do you think?
Yeah, Raj, you have a habit of either falling into sideways stories or talking about too much. This is a critical question. Uh, I, the kind of perfect answer, well, a good answer is I went to high school in blah blah, and I was interested in engineering or whatever
Mhm.
you're interested in. Uh, you know, Penn actually reached out to me and several other people even before whatever that thing is. What did you do? Advanced admissions or?
Yeah, I think they call it early admission cycle.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they
before
reached
that.
out to me before early admissions. So uh, I looked over their website. I visited. I spoke. I knew some kids who went there.
Mhm.
There were kids in the year ahead of me who went there, and I spoke to them. And you know, when I got to campus, and I actually sat in on a class, and I said, "Wow, you know, this is good for me for a lot of reasons."
Mhm. Makes sense.
Is there another reason, like it's close to home, or uh, where'd you go to high school?
Niles West, like a no-name suburban high school, I guess.
Where?
Uh, in Skokie, that's near Chicago.
Okay, so I went to high school in, you know, a suburban high school in Chicago. It was academically oriented. So Penn was on the radar for if this is accurate.
Yeah.
Penn was always on the radar, as were other Ivy and near Ivy schools.
Mhm.
Uh, and then surprisingly, they sent me a letter, and that got me interested. And then you just want to go through the major decision points. I studied them. I knew people who were there. Did you visit with your family?
I didn't visit any schools.
Okay, so I didn't get a chance to visit, but I really, you know, learned as much as I could
Mhm.
from the material on the internet, which is, you know, there's a lot of it.
Makes sense. Yeah.
What about his appeal to the fact that he could double major and get a master's degree all in 4 years?
Was that part of your actual decision making?
I knew it, like I could do something like that, but I don't know in hindsight how much it played
I
a role
wouldn't
in
say
that.
that. It sounds, even if it's true, it sounds baloney. And it's not adding anything. Okay, all
Yeah.
that answer can do is damage you. They're looking for the regular stuff. I had friends who went there. I looked over their materials. They had a very strong engineering program. Yeah,
Mhm.
you could say they had a very strong engineering program. And in fact, one of the things I noted that you could get a combined master's in 4 years.
Mhm.
You know, I didn't think about much, but I said, wow, that's cool.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Uh, Tell me about your, then what typically happens in a 2+2 interview is they go through your internships. They say, uh, tell me about Facebook. How did you get that job and what did you do?
Yeah, I think I learned about the TPM, Technical Program Manager, or Tech PM role there when I was working at Google. I really liked the role, so I wanted to continue in that direction, but I wanted to experience different culture, learn from different people. That's why Facebook really stood out to me. Facebook is very data driven, which I really enjoy. It's not the way we do it, and that's why we keep doing it. So I really wanted to be in that data oriented role and use that culture
I
to
don't know.
learn more
Hey,
about the
John, I
industry.
think, you know, let me give it to you straight. I think you're pouring it on a little too much. I think you're selling, you're not reporting, you're selling. You're selling Facebook and you're making it sound like uh, there were a lot of virtuous reasons for going there rather than giving us some authentic version. Like, like an answer was, I was at Google for X years and I liked that a lot. And then a buddy of mine at Facebook, introduced me to someone, and they pointed out there was an opening.
Now, Sandy, remember, these are internships because he's
Yeah,
still,
that's
yeah.
right. Okay, but an answer like that, or they can't. Did they come to campus?
Yes, it was on campus recruiting. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, well, Facebook said, Facebook was coming to campus. I got excited. It was a real buzz. And so that's the context of. Here's another one. It's a absolutely favorite Harvard interview question for 2 + 2 or for anything. Compare the culture at X and Y. So in your case, it would be, what was the difference in the corporate culture at Facebook and Google?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the things I mentioned before was the data oriented, while Google is very engineering driven. So the engineering managers, they have a lot of decision making power, while on the other hand, title is not that relevant at Facebook. Facebook is still very startup-y in a way. Google on the other hand, it's very organized, very structured. They have been around for much longer. I think it's very evident by working at both places. And I think personally for me,
Okay,
I like the startup feel.
you wandered into an acceptable answer. The first 30 seconds of that was actually incomprehensible. And then you figured out what you were trying to say. John, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, just say, Google is more structured. Your roles are more narrowly defined. And at Facebook, even though it's become a large company, it still maintains a startup culture.
Yeah, one of the ways the HBS thinks about corporate cultures is whether they're flat or hierarchical.
Mm-hmm.
But a startup culture is a great way to describe a company. It's which one had the startup culture?
Facebook.
Facebook had the startup culture, and Google was more hierarchical. Which internship did you enjoy more?
I guess I'm returning to Facebook, so that would be that one.
Well, the other thing is in your application essay, you note that you met Mark Zuckerberg and had a conversation with him.
Yes, Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg.
Yeah, and so on some level, that reflects the more freewheeling, looser culture of Facebook compared to Google. That may be a nice place to insert that you even got to meet Mark Zuckerberg and had a conversation with him and what he advised you to do.
That's a really good point. Yeah,
that's true, John. And if you can keep that in mind, do it. That is one, not going to get you in if you're otherwise goofing up, and two, it can easily come off the wrong way. They don't really care whether you met Mark Zuckerberg, quite frankly. That's not the purpose of this interview.
That's how you sneak it in, though, by saying it reflective of its more loose, freewheeling culture. Yeah. An intern who gets to do that is kind of cool.
Well, they might say, "How did it?" All it can do is get you in trouble. They'd say, "How did that come about? How did it come about that you met Zuck?"
It was more like there's more to it, but for Sheryl Sandberg, I just emailed her and she replied back. For Mark, we had to ask a question and people select on it and stuff like that.
I'm not understanding this. The question is, how did you mentioned that you met Zuckerberg when you did a internship at Facebook. How did that come about?
I guess so. Here's the context. We submit a question for Mark and interns vote on that question. Mine was the top most voted question. So I get to talk to Mark and other people can see that it's live telecasted like this interview.
So you won a contest, kind of.
Sure, in a way, yeah.
Well, am I got it wrong? They've got this thing where anyone working there can ask questions, and then questions that Zuckerberg, finds interesting or helpful.
Questions that other people find interesting, they vote on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they vote on it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, you won a contest.
That's a cool story, though.
Yeah, it's a cool story, but what they care more about is your ability to tell it in a clear way.
Yeah.
It's a mock interview. What they're looking for is what's it going to be? What are you going to be like in their sacred case method 90-person classroom? And is it going to be the case that whenever you get called on, everyone's going to go, oh boy, time to read my email, because this guy never gives a straight answer. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is correct. I'm actually helping John understand the process. Okay.
Did Cheryl urge you to apply to Harvard Business School?
No, that I don't want to, like, it's internal communication. I don't want to get too much into it. I'll probably
Sure.
get in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, another reason to watch what you say.
Always true.
I'm going to say it again. Purpose of the interview is to flunk people. There's 2 grades on this interview. You're not going to Harvard Business School and you pass the interview. Those are the 2 grades.
Mm-hmm.
There's no summa cum laude on your mock interview.
Mm-hmm.
Pass or fail.
But yeah, pass or no. Right. Yeah, exactly. And the purpose for them is to filter. They just want to filter out people who can't speak English or who are going to be a pain in the neck to listen to. Tell me about your leadership experience. I see you list Magic Connects here. What is that? And you're the founder. What is it and what happened?
Yeah, so when I went to campus last semester, it really struck to me that there's a new group of people who never had orientation and other social activities to make friends. So I started to work on this platform. I thought about it. I made a group of 11 people, and we all created this platform to help students make new friends, meet people like themselves. And then I expanded it to other schools. It seems like a few months ago, students from 65 schools were using this platform. So it was a really cool project. I got to work with my best friends and help community along the way.
What role did you play? This is a team situation, right?
Yes, I was the founder. I was the founder of this.
Okay, so if I asked the early teammates who got this thing going, what he was like as a leader, what would they say?
I did.
Very
Most of the people
popular
were,
question.
yeah, most of the people were my best friends. I have known them for a year. So hopefully good things. But I think what they will say would be, I'm very structural and functional focused. I like to make things happen. I know if I get stuck, I unblock myself, find people who can help me do that.
Give me an example of that in this project.
So one of them was adoption. How do I get more people to use it? Because for a platform like this, network flow kicks in. We need more people to start using it, else we start losing them. For that, I reached out to all the schools, the club leaders. I focused on the multiplier effect. If I tell you to use it, there is a chance one person will use it. If I tell professor to use it, he will tell his students or her students to use it. And hundreds of students are now using this platform. So I really wanted to focus on those things, get help from professors, from student leaders to spread the word out to make sure more people use my platform.
John, did you fully understand that answer?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Well, it's more about putting a team together and then doing the technical parts of building this platform to make it happen.
Yeah, okay. I thought that you got to forgive me. I'm losing my mind. I thought the question I did ask was, how did you get people to use it? And it seems the answer you gave was, I chose leaders at different campuses and had them be evangelists for the project. Is that correct or not?
Yeah, I guess that's how we got people to know about the platform and use it. I'm sorry if I misunderstood your question.
That's all right. Okay, well, let's erase all that. Hey, how did you get people to use it?
I think there was a clear need for something like this. People didn't want to use on Tinder, just keep swiping every second. People couldn't use LinkedIn. It's not free. It's hard for students to find people based on more than one thing. So this platform connects people on multiple dimensions. What classes are you in? What clubs are you in? What do you like? What kind of people do you like? And it used all that data to find people, and the algorithm would spit out
Okay,
people.
I'm a student uh, at a college that doesn't have this platform. How do I get in touch with it, or do you get in touch with me?
I reached out to professors and student leaders at different campuses, and hopefully the word would get out through that medium, and you would start using the platform. All you need to do is register with your school email, and you're using the platform.
Where is this cited? Is this cited on your school server, or is this?
The school is not involved. It's just a side project that school has been very generously supporting with professors. They put it on the school website and things like that. But everything, it's my own, my servers and everything.
Good. Wow. Well, that's impressive. Where do you see this going?
That's a good question. I think for now, I probably want to put a pause on it, build my network, get some capital of my own, save that, and build on the technical skills so I can work on it at Harvard or during my 4 years of deferral and really start working on it, build it to a certain degree that Harvard would add value. The resources, the network, the alums, and my peers would really be helpful in expanding and scaling this startup.
Maybe I got this wrong. You said one thing, like you're thinking of shutting it down, and then you reversed course and said, what I plan to do uh, is build it out. And if I should go to Harvard, I may try and make allies at Harvard to help me build it out.
Yeah, but I do want to take a 2 year gap to because I need to invest a lot of capital in it, which as a student I don't have, and I'll be able to save that with my Facebook job and use that for the startup.
Did you ever ask other people to invest in it?
Yeah, I got like tens of thousands of dollars in like investment stuff like that. It just I don't think it's the right time. I really want to get into big tech, build the network, rather than taking money right now and sitting on it. So it's just me. I want to focus more on personal development right now.
That's the answer. You just say what you said initially. I'm going to take a pause in this because I want to focus on my new job at Facebook.
Yeah, I agree. Your answers tend to be too long, and what you do is you talk your way into your answers.
Mhm.
That's first of all annoying. Second of all, hard to follow. Third of all, yeah, not what they're looking for.
Yeah.
My advice to you and to everyone else is to try and answer the question immediately, giving as which sometimes there's necessary context,
Mhm.
but beyond that, answer the question just as soon as possible. Now, a
Yeah.
lot of times you think your way into an answer. Uh, well, better late than never. But some people just enjoy not answering the question and doing a lot of opening acts. Like, good. Uh, who's the best leader you ever worked for?
I think I would say Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google. I think he has very humble beginnings. That's very inspirational. You don't hear scandals about him like other tech CEOs. I think that's really impressive. From internal perspective, he garners a lot of respect, a lot of informal authority. People follow him not because he's the CEO, because he has the expertise to do the right thing. So I think I really admire that, and I would like to be someone like him in the future.
Good. That's a good example. He's a good person. Sometimes this question comes in a variety. Sometimes they say, tell me someone we both know
Mhm.
that you think is a good leader. So I think you could use that guy because I'm supposed to know about him. And, he's a public figure.
Mhm.
Uh, then sometimes they say, who's the best leader you ever worked for? Now that question, what they want is someone that you've really worked for more directly than it
Mhm.
seems you worked for Mr. Google.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So what would your answer for that be?
That's a tough question. I guess I want to make sure I don't give a lot of
Right.
context, as you
Okay.
said.
For everybody out there, you need to walk into your 2+2 interview with a number of things in your pocket. And one of the things you need in your pocket are answers to this question.
Mhm.
A leader a public figure that's a leader that you admire, a leader you've worked for, a good leader, a bad leader, what that person said to you. These are stuff that come up again and again in a 2+2 interview. And then for every job, you've got to be able to explain how you got it, what was good about the job, what was bad about the job. They sometimes say, if you had an hour or 20 minutes to talk to the head of Facebook, what would you tell him about your experience working there? So what's the answer to that?
I think I would highlight the good things, our vision, our common goals. When I was in India, I was able to talk to my dad in the US. I really value that. They were among the first people to give free communication internationally. So I really believe in the vision of connecting people. There are things to
Yeah,
improve.
he doesn't want to hear that. He can hear that, from college kids he visits. You've just spent a certain amount of time working there. What he's looking for is ways to make his company better based on your experience.
Yeah,
Sorry if I didn't make that clear.
I was just trying to like smooth that in rather than saying here are 3 reasons you suck, for example. So yeah, with that said, I would tell them.
Well, I wouldn't say 3 reasons you suck, but here's 3 reasons that I found very helpful. And here are some areas they don't say, what's the business term for you suck? Here's some ways for you to improve.
Makes sense, yeah.
Well, what would they be?
For me,
He's not interested in how great the company is. He already knows it.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I think 3 things I would focus on would be the PR. Facebook gets a lot of bad PR for somewhat the things that almost every firm does. So I would focus on that, improving public image for the practices. The second thing would be really focusing on privacy and changing the business model.
He's got McKinsey to tell him that. He's talking to you to learn about your exact experience. He wants to get very granular about this because he thinks it's worth his while to talk to 15 people like you a year to find out what's happening in his company.
I think the one thing as an employee I would focus on would be employee retention. The median tenure is 2 years at Facebook. That's obviously not too great. In a firm like Facebook, knowledge transfer is a huge part. If people are just leaving every 2 years, you're not retaining the knowledge from these amazing people. So that's something I would really focus on.
So what's your suggestion? What's your first suggestion about the 2-year thing?
Trying to retain more employees, increasing benefits, structuring benefits in a way that promotes people to stay in the firm. Right now, I get a sign-in bonus. I don't get that next year, so I go somewhere else to get that sign-in bonus again. So really changing the incentives for people to stay with the firm should be better organized.
Is that growing out of your experience? Have you spoken to your peers and they said, man, I like it here, but I can make 10 cents an hour more at Google?
Yeah, it's actually very, very common knowledge in the industry. People leave in 2 years because they want another sign-in bonus of 100K working for a similar firm in a similar role.
All right. I'll give you a low pass on that answer. That's a generic answer to the industry. He doesn't need you to tell him that, my guess.
Yes, I'm sure he knows.
So
Right.
what would be the ideal answer, Sandy?
You go, well, what I would tell him was where I was working, we used to put too much effort on this part of the project, and then it was hurry up to do the real important thing. So I would try and run certain projects in a way where the work and the deliverables are spread out in a more intelligent way. I mean, I'm making it up, but that is something he'd be very interested in hearing.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Or there was really bad morale. There was really bad morale in my department because we were in a territorial fight with an adjacent department, and I think if you straightened that out, it would be a little more fair, and you'd have a lot more happier employees. real stuff that grow that from your experience. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So the big takeaways here for Raj, I guess, listen to the questions hard and answer them directly. You're already on stage. Don't be raising the curtain. No time for curtain raising. You shouldn't be talking your way into the answer. You should know the answer right off the top. Be very specific. Don't keep going about it. Isn't that right, Sandy?
Yeah, short. Yeah, don't lecture. Don't sound scripted. Shorter answers that address the actual question. Those are the ways people usually goof up 2+2 entries.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, let's finish this up with one more question. Tell me someone whose job you want in 40 years, 30 years, whatever.
mean,
At the height of your career.
When I was working at Facebook internship, I reached out to the VP of experimentation and new products. The first thing I told him is, I want your job. Tell me how I can get it. So I think that would be my ideal job, trying out new things, working on different products and just scaling them to help more and more people would be my ideal dream job.
Okay, and so you actually found a role model the first 2 weeks at Facebook. Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the follow-up question. Question is, tell me someone you admire, and then you say, I admire X. And then they say, what do you need in terms of experience and personal growth to be like X?
I think it's just a matter of time. I need to work on different projects, work with different people, different cultures, working habits to really understand how to work as a part of team, how to lead a team like that to reach at that level. So I think the experience, the technical background, business fundamentals, and network from Harvard Business School would be extremely beneficial to get to that place.
That's the easier answer. You say, yeah, well, for one thing, I'd have to just, go to work for the next 15 or 20 years and do the things you do at work, on a positive, in a positive way. Okay.
Shouldn't he say, look, he's studied engineering, he's worked in engineering roles at Facebook and Google, and what an MBA will do for him is broaden his perspective.
You don't have to sell them on why you want an MBA. Get that out of your mind, man. Don't do any selling. It can often be very damaging. You say, in order to be a guy like him, for one thing, I'd have to lead teams that report. I'd have to be the leader of a team that reports not to me, but to another team. I'd have to be a hierarchical leader. I'd have to work cross-functionally. I'd have to get involved in raising money for projects. Those are experiences I would need to get to his level. In terms of being a leader, what my growth areas as a leader are, I need to take more risk. I need to learn how to take more risk. I need to learn how to collaborate with cross-functional people. That's the answer they're looking for. You got it?
Yeah, that makes sense. Just add more specifics to what experience I need to learn.
That's half of what I said. And the other half was to actually come up with an inventory of leadership, not deficits, but leadership experiences that you need, or leadership growth areas that you need.
And actually, the things you mentioned are aligned with what a good MBA experience provides.
That's true, but I want to say this to both of you. They don't care about that. For purpose of the interview, they already know you want an MBA. You don't have to sell them on that, okay? They occasionally ask people who are not, this is usually not 2+2. They often ask people who are accomplished, why do you need an MBA? What are you going to get out of an MBA? It's a much less frequent question. 2+2. Okay.
All right. Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and here's the question. Here's two frequent questions. This is a good one. What's a product you admire? Not the iPhone.
Uh, I think for me, recently I have been using this product. It's called Portal. It's from Facebook. It helps you talk to people. You can still move in your room and the lens would follow you. So you don't have to keep holding it. You don't have to be in the straight line. I think it was amazing, extremely helpful, especially during COVID.
Good. Okay, and what's a misconception? This is one of their famous questions. What's a misconception people have when they first meet you?
I think it depends how they got to know me. So if it's something from my LinkedIn, a lot of the times people think I wouldn't reply to their messages and things like that. But if they know me from my friends, they have a completely different
Well, let's
view of
deal with
me.
in person. What's the misconception people have when you join a new team?
I'm very shy, especially in the beginning days. I usually don't like to speak up, don't talk to people. I like to absorb in for the few days.
That's an acceptable answer. Never use the word shy. It's dead. It's death. They might wink at it, but the answer you want to give there is, when I first join a new group, I usually don't take a leadership position. So people tend to think that not interested. But that it just takes me a little more time before I become more integrated into the group, something like that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
All right then.
Good.
Rob, you got a lot of prep to do maybe over the weekend. Good luck to you on Monday. Hope this is really helpful.
This was very helpful. Thank you so much for your time, both of you.
Now Sandy, any advice to Raj on how to calm nerves? Because anyone going into this situation is going to be nervous. Is there anything you can do to kind of just quell those anxiety nerves?
Yes, I'm afraid that's when in the good old days when these things were held in person. What my advice would be to get there early, and then what you do is you wind up talking to the other candidates, which actually becomes calming. But that doesn't exist now. So what I wouldn't do, okay, I wouldn't sit alone in my room and start triple thinking this and over rehearsing it and imagining difficult questions. What I would try to do, to the degree possible, obviously, you're not going to eat lunch with your buddies and go, oh, excuse me, guys, got to run. I got an interview in 4 minutes. Okay, I don't think you're going to do that. But to the extent you could normalize your day before this, that might help.
All right.
Makes sense.
Raj, good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Let us know how it turns out, okay?
For sure, yeah.
All right, Sandy, thanks again. This is John, Poets and Quants. You've been watching Fridays with Sandy, our mock interview with Raj. We're rooting for you for your Monday interview. Good luck.
Thank you so much.